right. And last but not least for the evening, I give you Paolo Pedercini from Molleindustria, which has been doing since 2003, and is the author of games including Queer Power, Faith Fighter, Turbo Flex, and my personal favorite, Orgasm Simulator. Take it away, Paolo.
Thank you. I can't believe there is another Paolo in the room. All right. Usually I make games, right? I have this project called Molleindustria, which is a project of appropriation of video games. So basically the idea is to use games as media to, broadcast and transmit alternative messages, but also transform the perception of games in general. So being a sort of a homeopathic remediation, an homeopathic remedy to the idiocy of mainstream entertainment. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. Maybe tomorrow if you want. But yeah, tonight I want to pose some pretty tough question for Dada people in the 21st century. Questions like, all right, the theme is war. How to be anti-war when war is invisible? When war is distantiated, is mediated, is separated. From here we might as well be at peace. But also, how to be anti-bourgeois when the bourgeois is invisible. Like, if the richest 62 people, the 62 people have as much as the half of the world population, we'll never meet them, really. There are so few of them. Like, do they even look like us? And they increasingly hide in their shiny fortresses in the middle of the desert or in fans communities. Like, do they even look like us? And also, what to do when the most famous bourgeois is Dada? Like, Donald Trump sort of thrives in nonsense and contradictions. You can't make a caricature of him because he has made the grotesque appealing. Sometimes data is all we have to get a sense of that we are at war. Here you see some information visualization of drone strikes under the Obama administration in Pakistan, a nation that the United States is not even technically at war with. Up there you see a base in Germany that is very important for all these operations. So even here in Europe we are pretty much involved and implicated. Sometimes data is all we have to get a sense of the systemic violence, the systemic robbery of capitalism, right? But when data is big, when data is big data, is big as in big business, right? It becomes a kind of delusion of universality. It's the ambiguous sex appeal of the technocracy. So how to make a Dada manifesto? Well, one way is take a Dada manifesto and replace every occurrence of data with big data. I actually kind of did it once. Let me see if I can click the link. If not, it might be embarrassing. Oh shit, I can't. That's all right. You're gonna go on with it. I maybe can just. There was never a link. So one day, probably the reason why I'm here is that I did this thing in 1 second called Big Data Manifesto. Yeah, which is exactly like that. It took me like half a second, really. All right, so big data excites everything. Big data knows everything. Big data spits everything out. But has big data ever spoken to you about Italy, about accordions, about women's pants, about the fatherland, about sardines, about Fiume, about art? You exaggerate, my friend. About gentleness, about the nuncio. What a horror. About heroism, about mustaches, about lewdness, about sleeping with Verlaine, about the ideal is nice, about Massachusetts, about the past, about odors, about salads. Never, never, never. Big data doesn't speak. Big data has no fixed idea. big data doesn't catch flies. The ministry is overturned. By whom? By big data. Let me go back there. There's going to be a lot of that. All right, so data might be our friend or our enemy, because data is nothing without an engine that processes it. So the rebellion of data a century ago was a rebellion against industrialization, essentially. A rebellion against mechanized war, mechanized society. Today, we have new masters. They are the masters of information. And of course, machines and factories didn't disappear, but machines and factories are now, has been reformatted by algorithms, and they are dominated by algorithms. The machine eats steel, coal, energy, labor. The algorithm eats data and thoughts. Nature used to be turned into resources, now life must be turned into data. Futurists were really inebriated by the possibility of mechanization. They like noise, speed, dynamism. They were so in love with machines that they ended up loving war and kind of siding with the fascists, really. So today, futurists love the algorithms. They love big data. Today, futurists are among computational artists, among internet artists, among digital artists. They are excited by the possibilities of generative systems and machine learning. They are excited by platforms for collaboration. They are excited by the aesthetics of surveillance systems. Yes. They are excited by the latest gadgets, but clueless or not really interested in their role in society. So perhaps data in late capitalism is about disrupting the patterns that big data is trying to detect. Big data is pretty much about collecting a lot of data and detecting pattern, make sense of it. So maybe jamming, confounding, hijacking the algorithm is kind of what new data should be doing. Data is liking everything, following everyone. Do you know that? Oh, here it is. I think I opened it. Well, there is an amazing plugin that, that I'll send you the link. There's an amazing plugin that basically likes every post that you can possibly see on Facebook, and it really changes your life online because you become immediately this amazing friend that everybody wants. It's just like super positive. Also, it changes the type of information that Facebook presents you. Data is buying randomly. This was presented just a few minutes earlier, the random darknet shopper. But before that, there was another example. There was another very similar bot that simply bought things on Amazon. And I think that's the ultimate way to affirm your freedom of choice as a consumer, to automate consumerism, to just let it be random. Data is tagging madly. Data is confounding this tagging machines. Should we try to tag? Should we try to upload that thing? Let's see if we can, if it works. So I have a Facebook.
Nice.
Yeah,
Like.
it's a Facebook like many others.
I like.
Let's upload that. Ah, really? You can't? Oh no, look at that. You can. Oh, that's my girlfriend.
What?
Data is tagging madly. And a good thing about tagging madly, another way to tag madly, is to be the worst possible mechanical Turkers. Are you familiar with Mechanical Turk? Who's not familiar with Mechanical Turk? This is an obsession for certain communities. Oh, okay. Well, So mechanical Turkers are cognitive day workers. They are the lowest type of cognitive, mental, symbolic worker. They are essentially performing tasks, simple tasks that computers can't do very well, but humans can do very well. For example, training. For example, recognizing images and tagging and explaining, complex verbal things. They are essentially training algorithms to replace humans. That's kind of what they do. They are sort of like traders of the human race. You can be a mechanical Turker, like really, literally tonight. And how can you do it? Just get your Amazon account and look at that. So this was a thing that one of the tasks that you can accept to do. For example, one of the tasks is create a sentence describing the image provided. It's essentially a tagging thing. So this is an example. There is a skater dude, bad caption, a man. The caption is too short. Some dude doing a trick on a skateboard. The image that they propose you to tag is this image here, which is, to me, so sublimely Dada. It's such an amazing ready-made. How should we caption this? This is an image that a computer is like, what the fuck is that? I'm accepting suggestions. Kinder, all right. Cornflakes. Or pornflakes. What? America. Yeah, you know that those things are banned in America, right? No, I'm serious. Dada. That could actually be a good one. Donald Trump. All right, I promise I will accept it and then tag it with your inputs. All right, back there. So, here's a guy who tagged madly. Do you know David Horowitz? David Horowitz simply just posted this thing. Take a photograph of your head inside a freezer, upload this photo to the internet, like Flickr, and tag this file with this generic random number, which is really a random number, but everybody uses that. And this is a Google bombing, essentially. It's hijacking the algorithm and creating a kind of like secret subculture. I encourage you to Google that very specific number. Or just Google head in the fridge. You'll find, even like many years after, you'll find that. That's a very rare example of an artist meme. So Dada is garbage in, garbage out. Are you familiar with the quantified self? Let's see. This is a project called Unfitbits. And it consists into tricking these Fitbits. Let me play. Let me see. So there is a school, there are some offices, and quite a lot of insurance companies in the United States that are trying to get people, employers, and subscribers to wear all the time this data activity tracker so they can see how much physical activity you do. And this artist devised kind of like a system to bypass that. You get the reference. You get the reference, right? So it's the tactical engagement with a fairly dystopian and kind of stupid type of trend. So data is unprocessable language, really. I think a frontier for natural language processing is sarcasm detection. I'm not joking. This is a real thing. The US military wants algorithms that detect sarcasm and irony, because those are hard, because companies too want that, because they want to be able to understand whether or not you're like, oh, I guess I eat at McDonald's, and you're being annoying and you're being sarcastic about it, or if you're really into McDonald's. That's a very important frontier. And what is it? And yet they are getting there. And that's why we have to be more sneakily sarcastic. We have to be weirder. And there is a thing called Weird Twitter that kind of does that. People pretending to be bots, bots pretending to be people. That's the frontier for data today. So have you ever run a sentiment processing? You can do that. I will encourage you to just like check mood sentiment analysis to analyze your manifesto and see what the machine thinks about it. Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it objective? Is it neutral? I would say if it's surprising, then okay, you're good. If the machine is spot on, you probably need to change your language. Also in real life, do it with love letters. So Dada is laughing at the algorithms. These are images you've already seen, postcards from Google Earth. Today's found objects. Is Clement Valla here? No. Today's found objects, today ready-made, are these peculiar digital detrituses. The moment in which you're like, ha, got you, you're stupid. And I think these are beautiful failures of technology. I think they are invigorating. They are pretty not just fun, but so this is what happens if you Google the death of the author Roland Barthes, which is a very important essay on Google. Yeah, traffic collision, right? Yeah, that's actually true. But I was actually looking for the essay called The Death of the Author. Anyway. These are glitches that make us humans feel, still relevant. The singularity is a blue screen of death on a public screen. So let's talk about tools. Dada had heroic avant-garde Dada had to reinvent tools in order to reinvent art. They had to start from 19th century type of media, like text, photography, typography, and kind of transcend them. They were, I think, experimentation were pointing straight to our digital tools. They were imagining Photoshop, they were imagining remix culture, they were imagining collective authorship. And I think 21st century Dada Manifesto can't be only made of words and words alone. And the futurists, for example, the futurists thought typography was too stiff for their dynamic poetry. Dada thought that typography probably was too authoritarian with those grids, with those movable types. So they broke it. They just literally broke it. And possibly they created graphic design in the process. But yeah, today it's this sanitized, usable web, these apps that need to be disrupted. This sleek Vaseline design, optimized by user experience drones. UX today, UX is user experience, is today's advertising. The entire fate of tech empires like Uber can be determined by the position of a buy button. Another thing is, let me show a Dada 2.0 service. It's called New Hive. It's a web platform that doesn't give a fuck. Here it is. I think I had it here. Have you ever seen it?
Yes.
Yes. So this is a thing that you can, if you have connection, you can literally use tonight and implement your manifesto within it tonight. I'm just clicking kind of like a random one. That's how it works. This is where the new internet kids, the new net artists hang out. It's super simple to use, but believe it or not, there's no other tool that allows you to make this patchwork so easily and so quickly. So New Hive, check it out. This could be a good, interesting tool for your manifesto because it can be really adopted tonight. Manifesto. So you are everywhere. You are legion. You have to kill the bourgeois author in you. And you can do it with shared real-time editing. This is a thing that we all have here now, Google Docs or other real-time things. Collective writing is a conflict. It can be a constructive conflict, but it can be, an orderly boxing match. It can also be a riot. You decide. You should try. choose your own manifesto. So a manifesto can be read in many directions. Interactivity, non-linearity is not really democracy, but there are things that you can do, again, like pretty easily and pretty quickly. Here's an interactive data manifesto that I made in 35 seconds. I could be a data manifesto, could I? No. Punch yourself in the face and drop dead. I shout, ideal, ideal, ideal. Knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. What is this? This is a hypertext created in Twine. You don't need absolutely any knowledge of anything. You can just like double click on it and write your own thing and add these links in pseudocode. It's free. You can download it and get going in 35 seconds. Generative manifestos. We already sort of talk about that. Like how to generate a data manifesto. Well, one way is to copy paste a bunch of manifestos and toss them in a Markov chain. This is the spam that we were talking about. Spam uses that, predictive Markov chain. That is some groups were compiling a manifesto only made of predictive text messaging algorithms. That's the same thing. The Google search, that's essentially a Markov chain, statistical prediction. So try to do that. You can find these Markov chains online. It could be nonsense, but it could be also a starting point. I have it. Should we try it? Let's try it. I think that one was in PHP. It's pretty fast. This is my corpus. This is pretty much all the whip. Pretty much all the. Well, trust me, I'm gonna copy paste it.
Looks great.
It looks great, huh? Oh, where the fuck are you? Try. Well, use it. all of the strategies kind of require this basic internet connection, but yeah, maybe not this one. So, algorithmic manifesto. So, what's that? Are you applauding me because the connection is slow? Yeah. All right. So.
Show me your algorithm.
Yes, I'll show you my algorithm because it's so simple. So can you make an argument? Can you write a manifesto that is also an algorithm? Can you? Yeah. No? Yeah, you can, and you should. It's so easy. So here's the thing. You can, for example, get the most, maybe it's this one. let me grab another website that is more interesting. So, for example, I make games, right? Games are multitude. Games are a mess. Games are really hard, notoriously hard to define. But unfortunately, video games are made mostly by programmers. Programmers like definitions. They hate ambiguity. That's how they are shaped. And video game people regularly argue about the definition of a game. It's also a gatekeeping issue. You know, like you get to call yourself a game designer. You don't. So I decided the best way to define games, is combinatorial. So basically creating a simple algorithm that generates only valid definitions of games. That's what it is. Game. Self-contained exercise of control that involves a structural conflict representing a subset of the world. Is it valid? Yeah, that's pretty good. I disagree. A procedural object that involves a structural conflict resulting in negotiable consequences. And all of these are good. These are all perfectly valid definitions on games. You will never find a definition that really doesn't fit. And I think that's a procedural argument. I think this is an argument, and a manifesto can be done that way. The grammar file is this. This is a context-free grammar. It's the simplest thing you can possibly use. There is even a pretty nice service called Cheap Bots Done Quick. Since we were talking about bots, but you might be a bit, a bit scared, or a bit afraid. Oh, I'm not a programmer. Actually, with Cheap Bots Done Quick, you can set up your bot in literally 10 minutes. So do it, spam it. And you know why? Because if you agree, you gotta tweet it. That's how ideas survive and prosper, not just on Twitter, but on media. It's a violent world for ideas down there, and your ideas have to grow teeth and the spikes and armors, and they have to move fast and fuck fast. Your manifesto needs likes. Your manifesto needs followers. We will never have heard about futurism if it wasn't for this article. People started to care about futurism and maybe avant-garde in general, historical avant-garde in general, when the manifesto appeared on the front page of Le Figaro. And the problem is that today, ideas are not enough. Ideas are content, and content is cheap. We are all monkeys typing random stuff in a sweatshop of symbolic capital. The info power now is in distribution channels, filters, aggregators. So either you design your own work for one of these channels, the existing channels, or create your own channels, which is pretty much quite harder. The victorial bourgeois will not really knock at your door. So this takes me to the final point, how to perform a manifesto. Perhaps it's not just a matter of publishing or putting out there, but rather giving it a life in the world. That's performance in the most widest sense, I guess. I want to conclude with this true 21st century Dada performance, which is a dramatic reading, not by me, it's just a recording of a dramatic reading of the source code of a virus. It's the warm I love you or love letters, and it's read by activist and theorist Franco Bifo Berardi. So it's pure source code, so it's kind of international, kind of English. It's a lullaby for all of your athletes. I'm gonna play after I put my computer next to the speakers. All right, you have only one night, athletes. My suggestion is move fast and break things. Go on. Thank you.
Thank you, Paolo. Give it up for Paolo.